Hey fellas, Thursday night, 8:45. Well, it's been a long week so far. Excuse the mess. It just seems like there is just crap everywhere in here. But gonna take a few minutes tonight and get back on our little 440 project for our 63 Dodge 330 wagon, our Dan Dvorak tribute car. And what I'm doing tonight, before I go in, retire for the evening, I figure I would get the block out. I threw it in the washer earlier. This is a run-of-the-mill, late model 440. It's 1976 blocks, cast crank motor, nothing super rare or super trick or anything like that. But setting the deck height tonight. Got it up on the old Storm Vulcan Blockmaster, the old tried and true Blockmaster. And what we're doing tonight is two things. Of course, we're getting the deck nice and true and straight so we can go ahead and have a good surface to bore off of. I always like to square the block up before I set it up on the jig to bore the cylinders. And we're just going 30 over. And I got some real basic Silverlight 30 over engine parts kit pistons. Again, nothing serious, and for a motor that's not going to see 6,000, 5,800, 6,000, maybe the total highest RPM she'll ever see, these suckers will be just fine. And as you know, parts are just getting so expensive, and we're trying to do this on a budget, trying to maintain a budget of about $2,500 to get that big old wagon in the 11s. So just look at the size of the piston. This is a 400 small block piston, which is 4 1/8 bore, and 4-inch 350, 4-inch 320 standard, and 30 over, hence the 4-inch 350. But and you know, I might even, I want to see this thing get in the 11s on motor, but who knows? We might get a little crazy and try to dip it into the 10s on a little nitrous, and everybody. Most will say, well, you're crazy. It's a cast piston. It's going to cut through the air like a knife through hot butter. But, that's a lot of surface area. Stay safe on the nitrous tune. There's a lot there to dissipate the heat. So, done it before. She'll be just fine up to about 175 shot. But, did some magic marker math here. And 45 thou is what we need to take off the deck. Right now, it's 76 thousandths in the hole. That means the top of the piston is below the deck, 76 thou. Hence look at the giant chamfer around here. And that was Mopar's way to really drop the compression lower than a worm's belly to adhere to the emissions in the mid-70s. But nothing worse than lowly compression in a big camshaft. If you want a recipe for disappointment, keep the compression low and put a big stick in there and see what happens. But anyway, we want to set that compression up at a streetable, about 10.25 to 1, and doing the math with our 452 heads that we put together last week that are sitting over here patiently. Remember, we CC'd the chambers at 82 cc. So we set that piston in the hole, about 30 thou from the 76 that it's down now. We'll be right at 10 1/4 to 1. So that's what we're doing now. We're gonna hang out here a little bit and deck the block. And I already took off the first 5. It's a rotary broach, so you can't take a ton of material off at once. The most you'll want to take off will be about 10 thousandths at a time. Kick her in gear here, and it's just a nice, slow, consistent cut. And we'll just let that thing eat, chop away. And after we get this side, the size, we'll flip it over to the other side. So stay tuned. After we get it squared up, off to the boring bar it'll go, and we'll punch them cylinders 30 over. And these are the original pistons and rods. They came out of that 76 motor. Had the LY rods in it, which we're going to retain. They're in good shape. I'm going to clean them up, mic them up. Not even going to bother changing the rod bolts, because again, 5,800 is about high as we're going to spin this thing. And we're going to press off these old wore out standard bore pistons. and press on those new 30 over silver lights. Weekend. The weekend is here. Saturday morning. Here at the shop. Spending the morning with 63 Dodge. Well, last week we got the motor out. And got out here and pressure washed the engine bay. Got it cleaned up so I could assess a little bit of rust on that firewall. But the main reason I cleaned it up is so I could snatch out the dreaded Slant 6K member. And yes, people say call Schumacher and get an engine mount relocation kit. Well, unfortunately for me, early B-bodies, Slant 6K members, they don't make a kit to put a V8 in one. So we had to buy one. Actually, a buddy of mine from up in Connecticut had one, and he said, man, I'll put it on a pallet and send it to you. All you gotta do is pay the freight. So thanks to Bill, we got a early 60s, I think this is a 63 or 64 V8K member. Came in yesterday. So we're going to get this old wagon jacked up. I'm going to spray some penetrating oil first on some of these components. We're going to snatch this K member out and try to get that V8K member in there in the middle of working on our little 440 project. So I just thought I'd show you guys what we're doing today, Saturday morning, May the 17th. Nothing else to do. No race cars together and running. So might as well put some work in. So stay tuned and we'll get this thing jacked up and jacked out. Alright, here we are about an hour later, hour and a half later. No speed record by no means, but you know, I'm old, fat, so you know, it is what it is. I had to bring a fan out here. For those who don't know, we're in North Carolina, down south, and it's getting friggin' hot. It's like 90 something today. So, but anyway, let's say about an hour later, we're all disconnected, and she's ready to drop out. I got the floor jack under. I got the torsion bar clips out of the back. What I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to slide them forward. Always be careful. They always say never to put vice grips or bang on the torsion bar because it's spring steel. But again, this was a 6-cylinder car, so I don't know if I'm going to have to upgrade the torsion bar to a V8 torsion bar. I'm not sure. I'm not a Mopar guy by birth. I was always a Chevy guy. I always liked Mopars and admired them and really always wanted an old Mopar, but just started out with Chevys, and Chevys were cheap, and friends with parts, the trade and swap were plentiful, so I ended up sticking with that until my later years when I built my first Hemi for my Altered, which was an early Hemi, and saw real quickly that the Chevy was still superior to the old 392 as far as I found, you know, racing on a budget. But anyway, so yeah, super pumped. We got it unbolted. I got the floor jack under it, and I'm gonna let her down and get her out. And as we can see, probably lost another 100 pounds of rust. It all fell out, so we'll go from there. Let me. I wish I knew how to do this time lapse shit. My son won't give me a little lecture or primer on how to do that, so I'm trying to do it in segments here for my corny ass videos. But here we go. Getting ready to let her down. She came right disconnected. Like I said, this is my first time ever replacing a K member in a Mopar, and I just took the clips off the torsion bars, and in a nice tack way, I used the floor jack kind of as a slide hammer. I just got it caught on there and just gave it a little yank forward, and lo and behold, those torsion bars slid right out without much trouble at all. So we're going to pull the rest of this out and break all the suspension down. You know, we're going to replace the ball joints. I think I might even treat this thing to a disc brake conversion in the front, because we plan on making a little bit of steam and maybe going a little bit of mile an hour, break 100 at least. So maybe we'll put some disc brakes on here. If anybody knows of a super reasonable disc brake conversion way for a B body, let me know, because before I put it back together. I think I might want to do that. Of course, we're going to do some brake line work, and had a buddy that donated some 9010 drag shocks, brand new in the box for a B-body. But again, thanks to my buddy up in New York, Bill Casey, for sending me the K-member. And let's get the rest of that apart and cleaned up and see where we're at. And she's out. It only took me about an hour and a half. And a little sweat equity. Get the pressure washer back out, hit it again, clean her up. Excuse me. Dust's getting to me. And yeah, we got to pull that damn push button 906 out now. Toss that in the trash. So, get it cleaned up, and we're going to look for a manual steering box. So we're going to get rid of that power steering box, make a little more room for our big block. That's what we're doing today. I'll keep the updates coming as I keep motivating. I couldn't have picked a warmer, muggier day to do this bullshit, but just cleaning up now. Like I said, we got it out. Ended up getting out, pulling the transmission out, and cutting the rest of the exhaust off. And just going to go down there and clean it up later with a wire brush, pressure wash it again, and get ready and bolt that other K-member back in. Like I said, I think I'm going to look for maybe some parts to do disc brakes on the front. And I snatched the old power steering box out. And I'm going to see if I can find a manual steering box. The hood, which ended up being pretty damn shot. And I don't think we're going to be able to do anything with that. So Uncle Mike came over. There's the old hood there. I pulled that off before we pulled the K-frame off. But unfortunately, look at that. I mean, it is ready to Titanic when I pick it up. It's gone. So Uncle Mike came over and had an idea. And with his help and Brian's help and maybe even possibly a little bit of my brother's help, all of us have spent time messing with performance boats. So 3 of them got, along with myself, have a good bit of fiberglass experience. We're going to go ahead and make a mold out of this and make a fiberglass hood. For one thing, the intake I got is an M1 intake, single plane high rise, and it's going to need some kind of scoop or something, which I really didn't want. But man, the few people that do make a fiberglass hood for that 63 are outrageous. They're high. So I'm going to do a little segment on that. We're going to prep this and make a mold, and we're going to pop out a race weight hood, and probably can do it for about $75 in materials. Might not be perfect like a hardwood, but definitely be better than that old rotted thing. So that's it for today for that. I've had enough of rolling around on the ground and sweating my galloons off today. But let me show you this. Why I want to get too far away from the progress on the funny car. You know, we've been waiting on parts and really waiting on me to make money to buy parts. But a friend of mine, Kevin Rivenbark, hooked me up with another friend, Todd Tutterow. I was looking for a manifold, a used manifold for a short deck, Brad Anderson. Really hard to find a short deck. Some of the Pro Mod guys use them with the screw blowers, but I called Todd, and he knew a guy that had a magnesium manifold off a fuel car that they really couldn't give away because the fuel car, look in the runners here, they run 3 injectors per cylinder just in the runner. Then they run down nozzles through the cylinder head and nozzles in the hat. So nobody wanted this old manifold. So compared to what a new one, both Brad Anderson and Noonan, they're about $4,500 for a new manifold, which that was out of my zip code. So Todd said, man, give me a couple days. I think I know a guy that's got some old fuel parts. And man, he hooked me up, did me a solid. Picked this one up for $900. And I just spent some time last night and just got some flat bore aluminum and drilled and tapped. Got me some nice button head stainless screws. And I covered up the injector holes for the fuel motor. When I say fuel, you know, this means it was on a nitro motor. It was probably on a nitro funny car or a top fuel car. But we're an alcohol motor, so I'm only using single nozzles per runner. We're using 8-port nozzles, and I'm going to use, you know, the nozzles in the hat and a couple of nozzles in the back of the blower to keep the charge distributed. But this manifold here was built for a screw blower. Yours truly isn't using a screw blower. Would be nice if I could, but price of screws are high, and I got a fresh 1471 off the rump shaker. I'm going to build a plate and get the set back where I want it, and you could adapt. Just so you know, if you got a manifold for a screw blower, you could adapt it to a Roots, but you can't go vice versa. You can't go with a Roots manifold and put a screw on it. The bolt pattern, there's enough meat to exchange. I can put some counterbore holes, put a plate on there, and put my pie shape for my Roots where I want it. I think it's going to work good. So we're on our way there. We're going to get back on the Hemi here soon. Just taking a break, fooling around with that little Dan Dvorak project out there. Spuds came through, and the fuel system showed up for the Hemi. I'll show that for a second back here in the assembly room, but it's sitting in here. It came back the other day, and I haven't even had time to open it up, but he's got my setup sheet, and he flowed my pump for me, and I'm excited about that. That's why I pay Spuds what I do. I used to use Gene Adams years ago, but Gene's got a little older, but Spuds, he's the man, and he puts a nice booklet together to help get you started. Gives you a schematic on where to run your bypasses and your metering blocks and what jets to start with, and makes it a lot easier for you. He flows the pump so you know exactly what you got. I like to go by a setup that can be mapped out for me that I know the motor will start and run, and then I can adjust it from there. So we're starting this one, setting it up 30% over on the blower. Got my pulley numbers there, and we're excited about that. So hopefully get back on the Hemi. And I sent him a couple. These are the case style barrel valves we're using on the buzzard catcher. So I had 2 of those. I sent them both to get rebuilt, new O-rings put in, have them flowed. So he does it all. He did the pump. He even, I send the filter out. So he flows the filter, everything. All the nozzles are flowed. Flows the pills, so it should be up to me to put it together and get it set up and close enough to fire up and go from there. But the Dan Dvorak tribute car is coming along. I'm going to keep plugging videos, whether they're boring or not. I'm going to post them up anyway. Maybe get the block on the boring bar. I was going to hopefully get it on there today, but I decided to mess around with the K-member instead. So, all right, I'm not going to talk too much. They say I talk way too much in here and bore everyone. Just trying to explain. I got to explain like if I'm talking to myself, because, I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. So, anyway, get back at it. Maybe we'll get that K-member bolted in and do a little work on the Hemi tomorrow. We'll see what happens. We'll see you later, guys. Oh, one last thing. I want to give a shout out, a special thanks to my buddy Ryan Gilbert at Prestige Plumbing, Prestige Worldwide. He came through, and we finally got running water here in my backyard shop. Will you look at that? Now I can wash my hands and not get yelled at by the wife for shitting it up the sink in the kitchen. But old Ryan Gilbert always comes through for me. But anybody local in the area needs a good plumber, Prestige Plumbing, Ryan Gilbert. Thanks, you fat bastard.